The reason we're doing this today is because this is an extremely important message for every volunteering community group in Northern Ireland, in fact every person in Northern Ireland. Climate change and sustainable development in general is no longer just a green issue. This is an issue for absolutely everyone. So it has to become a central part of how we work, whether we're a women's group or a children's group or an older people's group or a local community group. It's not just a green thing now, it's about all of us, it's about how we live, and it's about the changes we can make.
I'm Sue Christie, I'm Director of Northern Ireland Environment Link, and we did this showing today of an inconvenient truth to try and get community groups and voluntary organisations in Northern Ireland realising that climate change is an issue for everybody. It's not an environmental issue, it's a social issue, it's an economic issue. We all have a role to play in solving climate change. As one of the speakers today said, it's not about a silver bullet. There's no one single solution. It's about silver buckshot. There are dozens and dozens of solutions, and there's something that each and every one of us can do to help stop climate change and to make sure that the way that we live today is not having bad impacts on other people in other parts of the world. The big impacts on climate change are hitting the poorest people in the poorest countries, and it's our moral responsibility and duty to make sure that those impacts are minimised.
I'm Jim Kitchen, I'm head of the Sustainable Development Commission in Northern Ireland, and I want to say a couple of words about how climate change and sustainable development relate to each other. A lot of people say that sustainable development is a very abstract concept, but there's no doubting that climate change is anything but abstract, and as its effects build up around the world and we see more and more extreme weather events, climate change affects us all. The solution to climate change lies in sustainable development. We have an opportunity here in Northern Ireland at the moment with our existing Sustainable Development Strategy and also the implementation plan and the forthcoming climate change bill to set policies in place that will help us to tackle the real threat of climate change in the future.
My name is Maura Cavan, I'm a development worker with the Workers' Educational Association working on the Building Communities programme, and we have recently launched a course in sustainable development that we have been rolling out at community level in the past year, and I suppose that's why I've come along today, because I was happy to see that NICVA then were putting sustainable development within the broader community band, because a lot of people seem to feel that it's very much an environmental issue. I mean, we're really endorsing the fact that when you're building healthy, vibrant communities, you need to be looking at sustainable development and you need to be looking at sustainable communities. And that's not about everyone, ditching their car and walking to work, but it's looking at other ways like buying local produce to support local economy, and reducing sort of food miles and emissions that way. So there's a whole load of other ways that people can do their bit for the environment without the very drastic immediate thought of actually having to walk to work, because in many cases that isn't practical.
To really push sustainable development up the agenda, what would be your top 3 issues?
I think the 3 issues that I would have would be that sustainable communities in the broader sense needs to be sort of highlighted in terms that the community projects in the voluntary sector need to be looking at ways in which they can actually sustain their projects for longer by using recycling methods, by cutting down on energy waste, by looking at alternatives and more inexpensive ways to actually manage their organisation. I think the second thing would be to try and counteract the view that this is a green issue. This is an issue for everyone in the community, and it's not solely an environmental issue. And I think the third thing would be that people need to take on board that, small actions at a local level can have a massive impact on a global level, and it's not good enough to say, well, this, global warming is something that's, happening out there.
Well, we want to keep this moving. I mean, we'll probably run this event in different places. We'll lend the film to people. We'll encourage other people to see the film. We'll try and put as many resources as we can on the NICVA website. So we'll pull together all the advice that's already out there about how you can start to make practical differences. We'll ask people for suggestions as to how they want to have this conversation in their groups and in their local neighbourhoods. And we'll basically just keep plodding on with the message. And we'll also, crucially, I think, try to walk the talk. We in this organisation will try to make changes in the way that we work and operate and see if we can make a small difference here.